Do you remember watching the Magic School Bus? If you don't know what it is, it's an educational show for children to watch at home and at school. The show was about a crazy teacher who would take students on wacky adventures, like through outer space, the human body, throughout nature's creations, etc. I loved the show as a kid. I'm sure every kid that was born in the 90s and early 2000s would remember the show. To travel and do these field trips, Miss Frizzle would always use the Magic School Bus to do them. Have you ever wondered what inspires the creators to make the show? Some people believe that Miss Frizzle is a psychic or wizard to make these field trips happen. Others think that the students were hallucinating on field trips, but that is what they think. I somewhat believe in those, but I do have an idea as to what inspired the creators to make the show. Let's start off with Miss Frizzle, a crazy teacher that takes her students on wacky adventures. She's got ADHD, that personality she has in the show, always happy most of the time and is smart and wise while teaching her class. There were times where she fell down in the dumps, but she was mostly happy most of the time. The ADHD part was mostly inspired by Tigger from Winnie the Pooh. He has ADHD due to him always being hyperactive. So that would explain Miss Frizzle's personality. But since she's an adult, she is more mature and handled her ADHD better. Liz is the class pet of the classroom. She does come up with ideas at times, but she isn't recognized. Every school that has a class pet in their classroom, they don't usually do much other than just sit in their cages and do what all animals do. The way Liz tries something new for her class, but no one even notices her reasons for agreeing or not agreeing with anyone. Arnold is the typical student who says the lines of, "I wish I should have stayed home today," or "I knew I should have stayed home today." He says that because he's the nervous kid in the class. Probably because he has an anxiety disorder. However, in one episode of the Magic School Bus, Arnold didn't have any hints of his anxiety kicking in and liking to go on a field trip. That episode was all dried up. I believe Arnold also acted like that in other episodes, I just don't remember which one. Wanda is someone with PTSD, mainly because whenever the class is in a bad situation, she says the lines of, "What are we gonna do?" 3 times. I'm assuming whenever someone puts the class in danger or in a bad situation, it somehow triggers her PTSD. If you ask if she had a traumatizing experience with something, that I cannot answer, mainly because it is not hinted at in the show. I do believe that she has PTSD in the show. At least that's what I thought she has. Tim is the normal kid in the class. He gives out facts to the class about things he knows, but not fully like the teacher can. No, he's not the nerd of the class, but he does have a smart idea. His IQ is mostly average by the sounds of it. I am not sure if he is a semi-nerd or not, but I guess that is how I think of him. Ralphie is the kind of student that's a jokester at times. Not as much as Carlos is, but he's the kind that does these jokes out of random. Sometimes whenever something the class is in feels nauseating to him, he would say, "I think I'm gonna be sick." When he isn't saying that, he would say along the lines of, "Is it just me or..." That is normally said whenever a situation doesn't make sense to him, or he doesn't get the idea. In the episode Inside of Ralphie, he tries to get out of bed by pretending that he is well when his mother knows that he isn't feeling good. Let's move on to Carlos, the boy who tells jokes and puts out random puns in class. He is mostly hated by students whenever they get tired of hearing his puns and jokes. He's no better than Luan Loud right here. But since the Loud House didn't exist back then, Carlos is the student that says bad jokes and puns, just for a reaction out of the students, which is why you will always hear everyone saying, "Carlos," in a not impressed manner. Why does he do this for attention? Well, I guess he doesn't get the most attention out of the other students, so this is his way of getting the attention and people to pay attention to him. Dorothy Ann is the smart one of the class. She is a nerd if you want to put it that way. But Dorothy Ann, or also nicknamed DA, will always have her books with her on certain topics. Like whenever the students are confused at something, she would always pull out her books to explain something. Her usual line, "According to my research," she will state what facts to the class, just so they have a better way of understanding stuff that they never knew about. Phoebe is the quiet and shy one of the class. She loves plants and animals and has a good heart for all living things. Whenever she says, "In my old school," she brings up the past of what happened to her before she came to Walkerville Elementary. Why does she bring up the past by saying that? She's mostly bullied and picked on by other kids, mainly because she was quiet and barely had any friends to talk to, but animals and plants. Before she was added to Miss Frizzle's class, she would talk to plants and animals whenever she was depressed or being bullied by other kids. I believe she's got autism, which could confuse people of Phoebe talking to herself whenever she gives her love and talks to the plants and animals. Keisha is the one that freaks out over nothing. As well as getting moody at times, she is most likely bipolar. Like one moment she's chill, next she gets angry and then emotional. All these emotions get all over the place, which explains why she jumps into conclusions without any evidence of what happened. Her bipolar could explain why she snaps at the other students, even though she doesn't mean to. When she says, oh bad, 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 bad," she's most likely having panic attacks. Not to get confused with Wanda having PTSD. Janet, who is Arnold's cousin, is a bratty show-off that likes to brag about things. She thinks that she is queen of the castle. If you've seen the very first episode of the Magic School Bus, she also brags about how her teacher does things that Miss Frizzle has never even been done. She's most likely a spoiled brat, which would explain why her attitude is her being such a bitch all the time, even towards her cousin Arnold. The Magic School Bus is a magic time machine, one that never existed. That would make sense, seeing that Miss Frizzle and her class would use it to go on field trips. But the time machine is in a shape of a bus. Mainly, this is Miss Frizzle's way to hide the truth of the magic time machine. Why would she do that? Mostly so no one would steal it, or even hijack it when no one is looking. Which explains why Miss Frizzle never revealed any secrets of the bus to anyone.